Nothing has changed. The Japanese people must continue to endure harassment and humiliation. We eagerly anticipate the arrival of the...
Hey, I hear you're leaving us.
Splinter Cell Chaos Theory is the third iteration of Ubisoft's popular stealth action franchise, and it once again stars Sam Fisher as a top-secret super spy charged with cleaning up the government's mess when political situations turn sour.
Time, boy.
Wouldn't miss it for the world.
This Splinter Cell is the most comprehensive, most fully featured one yet, because it once again has a good-sized single-player campaign, an updated version of the innovative multiplayer mode introduced in the second Splinter Cell, and now a brand new cooperative multiplayer mode that lets you and a friend perform some very cool new tricks. And of course, the game looks gorgeous, at least on the Xbox and PC anyway. Though the multiplayer features are the most original aspects of the game, the single-player campaign is actually the highlight. Despite some cosmetic differences, it basically plays similarly to the previous Splinter Cell games, so it's all about staying in shadows and creeping up on enemies whose backs are turned. But the campaign has been redesigned to be more lenient and more open-ended, allowing you to take more of a brute force approach in most cases, if you prefer. You've also got some optional mission objectives to pursue, and you're rated on your performance at the end of each mission, so there's good reason to go back into each one. Fisher is also armed with a knife this time, and has a variety of great new moves and animations. He's more effective than ever at taking out foes in close quarters, and all this definitely makes the campaign more fun overall. The missions are also big and complex, and on the Xbox and PC, the settings look incredibly lifelike, which adds a lot to the experience. Storytelling still isn't a strong suit in Chaos Theory, but the missions themselves are definitely exciting. Most of the campaign missions have a memorable set piece of some sort. The cooperative mode ties in with the campaign and focuses on a couple of Splinter Cells in training who've got a job to do even as Sam Fisher's doing his thing. Co-op actually doesn't play that differently from the campaign, though you've got access to some really neat two-man moves that are possible in certain situations. As great as these look, they do feel a little contrived, probably because the level design of the co-op missions isn't as tight as the single-player missions. There also simply isn't as much co-op content to play around with. It's hard not to like this mode in spite of that, though, since everyone wants there to be co-op in pretty much every game with multiplayer, and the mechanics are basically well implemented. Still, there's some untapped potential. As for the Versus mode, much like in Pandora Tomorrow, it pits spies against mercenaries in objective-based skirmishes, and these two sides play completely differently. Matches are limited to 4 players, and even though the spy side resembles Sam Fisher, you'll find that there's actually a lot to learn about both the spy and mercenary sides. Plus, you need to learn the game's big, complicated maps, of which there are many more this time around. Multiplayer Chaos Theory can have some really great moments in it, such as when a spy manages to grab a mercenary in a chokehold and say something rude to him before snapping his neck. Chaos Theory's new maps are also quite interesting, and the tweaks made to the multiplayer rules make the gameplay even more diverse and complex. But multiplayer really caters to the hardcore. You'll probably want to play this one with friends instead of with strangers, because unless you've mastered the characters and learned every inch of the maps, you can be a huge liability to your two-man team. There's no question that this is a unique and interesting multiplayer mode, but it's also an acquired taste, better suited to those who prefer a deliberate cat-and-mouse style game over all-out action. The Xbox and PC versions of this game are the superior ones, featuring superb graphics and comprehensive online multiplayer feature sets. The Xbox version provides a more tactile feel through its controls, and also offers the choice between split-screen or online co-op play, so it edges out the PC version slightly. Whichever way you go, expect a few too many splash screens, loading screens, and in-game advertisements for comfort. It's nothing serious, but overall, these and a few other little things contribute to the game's built-by-committee sort of feel. For all that Chaos Theory does to draw you into the experience, some aspects of it, including a few lame attempts at self-referential humor, do have sort of an adverse effect. Nevertheless, even if some of the differences are marginal, this is still the best playing and most fully featured Splinter Cell game yet. Splinter Cell Chaos Theory has a lot to it, and if nothing else, the sum of all these parts is something very impressive. Again, at least on the Xbox and PC. Ultimately, the game likely isn't going to change anyone's mind about Splinter Cell, so if you've enjoyed the previous installments and hope to see Fisher take it to his foes without so much restraint this time around, then you'll probably have a great time with this game too. And if you are a fan of Pandora Tomorrow's multiplayer, then you'd better start practicing.